Hello and welcome viewers and listeners here with Prosper with Sonia Clark. I've got a fabulous guest to introduce you today. Her name is Melissa Mitchell. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, thank you for having me. I feel very honoured. Thank you.
Look, it's wonderful, and I'm truly honoured to be able to have you online here to interview you and to bring your value to our listeners and to our viewers. Melissa is an online mastery mindset coach. And a bit of a mouthful there. She's actually done quite a lot of things and has got fabulous value to bring to you. So she's got a background with some network marketing, which was really quite interesting. And I know a little bit of that sort of the background as to how it helps with entrepreneurs and small business owners with marketing themselves, and certainly now with the online side. So Melissa, we're going to ask her quite a few questions in just a moment.
Great.
She's also got some qualifications in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and with psychotherapy. Look out, people. She's going to be working you out.
I love it.
Let's deep dive a little bit here with Melissa. And I'm going to ask you, Melissa, to share a little bit of your story as past and present, where you're at.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, and again, thank you so much for having me. I'm very honoured and very blessed to be here with you and your audience. So my background was, I found myself maybe 10 or 11 years ago being at home with my children. I was actually a flight attendant for a big part of my career. Had my children, found myself at home, and didn't know what to do with myself because I am someone who likes to keep busy. That's where I got into the network marketing, and that really helped me to get my confidence back in the workforce. You do tend to lose a little bit of that when you have children. And to get my confidence back, I was really successful at that. And then I found, because I was sort of going outside of the box, and rather than doing sort of the party plan thing where it was face to face, I was doing a lot of my work online, and I worked out a way to be able to run my business mostly online and to have, the same, if not better, benefits. So that kind of led me to sort of morph into something I created about probably over a year ago. It's still relatively new, called Online Mastery. And it incorporates what I've learned from network marketing and, delivering a product or a brand or a business online, and also incorporating what I've learned in my training with NLP and, psychotherapy and the psychology of selling and the psychology, of working online. And it kind of all merged into one, and I decided to create Online Mastery. I'm also really big on mindset and motivation, which is I got from a lot of personal experience in life, just from different challenges in life and things like that, and then also from my studies. So I like to sort of incorporate it all together, because I really do believe that your online presence, it is different to opening a bricks and mortar business. You can certainly have both, a bricks and mortar and online, but the way you run them, I believe, is different. So it's sort of, that's probably it in a nutshell, and how I came to where I am now.
Lovely. Isn't it interesting? There's a lot of us that we often do have this constant journey with evolving and changing, and certainly with those various different types of major changes, like becoming a parent. And, as we get older, each of our decades, we're doing different things. And there's often is that consistent thread of your focus, I suppose, and your energies and your natural talents, and then how we evolve and add extra skills and our inner talent, how that comes about.
Yes.
And I really like how, you've gone and pivoted towards that online from what was typically a very face-to-face. And with the online, with the, what do they used to call it? The party plans and things like that.
Yes, 100%. Come to a
Yeah.
party.
So now doing it, I've seen people do it virtually.
Correct.
I've seen people do the courses, I suppose, with the network marketing. I'm starting to see that they're creating like little mini courses. So
Yes.
what, and I think maybe some of the listeners might not realize that there is an overlay of similarities with, just because it's network marketing doesn't mean that,
Correct.
with small business and certainly being online, it doesn't mean that it's completely different. So could you give us some tips maybe around what you've learned with how to help people to be a whole lot more of a standout
Yeah.
online?
Sure. And I love what you just said then, because network marketing, it doesn't get a hugely popular rap sometimes, but it is so great for people who perhaps don't have any skills in business to be able to start. They may stay on that journey or they might evolve. And I love it for that. So some tips that I've learned and what I can give to your viewers is, when you work online and you take the skills that you've learned in life, it can be very different to try and change it up and to convert that to an online world. And people tend to have no problem talking to people face to face, but give them online and they panic.
Yeah.
So the first tip is I want to say to people is, always talk online if you're doing a Zoom or a Facebook Live or a virtual party, as you spoke about, or an event or whatever it is. Talk to the camera as if they were just there. That's how I see it. This is just an extension of being in a party or wherever you are. So that's one tip that I can give them as well. The other thing is, it does take a little bit longer online to build a relationship with people. People will buy from you or do business or join you or whatever you're offering if they know, like, and trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not going to want to know about your world or your business. So in order to get people to know, like, and trust you, you need to be present online. So the thing is, with online, you do need to be out there a little bit more with your Facebook Lives, delving into a little bit more of your vulnerable side, sharing your story. And that really, really helps people to build that trust with you. And to remember that although you might have a brand, like you might be selling these pens, for example, and this is, people will look at this as their brand, but online, you are actually the brand. So what I mean by that is, people, why when people can get this pen, I don't sell pens, by the way, but why when people can get this pen at, 6,000 different outlets online or in a store, why do they come to you? Because the story behind it, how you make them feel. So I want people to really think that, so one of my tips is the brand being you online, because that's what they're seeing mostly. They're not seeing your product so much. They're not going into a store and picking up a product. They need to, first of all, work out why they want to buy from you. So you have to give them a reason. And on that, my next tip would be, sell. Yes, you've got a product, and your product might be a physical product, might be a digital product, might be a service, like a coaching service, like such as yourself. It doesn't really matter what it is. You don't sell the product as a product. Sell the product as a solution to grab their attention. No one goes onto social media to buy, if you think about it. You go onto social media to scroll through, see what everyone's up to. Something grabs your attention because it resonates with your emotion, because you connect with that person, and that's what you have to get. And I think that's the link that a lot of online people who are trying to build their business online miss. They don't look at people's pain points. They're looking at the product. I need to sell 100 of these. Who's going to help me? No one cares about your pen, but they do care that it helps. It's got a magnetic field in it. And if you've got arthritis, it's going to solve, the pain in your wrist, for example. So what is the point of difference? And that's what you have to do online. And particularly network marketing, I do see this a lot. Product. It's only $60. Buy it. It's people don't care about that. If you want to do that sort of thing, set up a Facebook group for your fans. But yeah, they're probably my most tips for that to stand out. And also not to think of it as, let's say you sell a product that's quite saturated. Don't let that worry you. Just work out a way to stand out from everyone else. Do you offer them, something free for joining your email list? Do you offer them something free for coming on some kind of value? It doesn't have to cost you money. It could be a 15-minute call to, chat to them and discuss their needs, or 15 minutes, consult. So what value can you bring to them? And I always liken that to, I lived in a small regional New South Wales town a couple of years back for my husband's work. 7 pubs in that town of 6,000 people. 7 pubs, and they all survived. And I always look at it and I say, why did we go to that pub over that pub? It wasn't necessarily, the food may have just as been as good, but I felt nice when I went there. They made me feel good. They made me feel valued. So I'd go to that pub. I knew their story. I knew a little bit about the family who owned the pub. So it's about being vulnerable, giving your story. Story sells. Story sell because people can resonate with you and say, well, I was just like her. I can do that. Yeah.
I do like that. I like, and as you were talking, I'm getting these flashbacks of the various different things that I've said, and these, knowing different businesses. Yeah. So the product.
Awesome.
And I like the whole thing about, that it's about the person, and,
correct.
It's very much about, so I'm very much into differentiation and helping people to find that and to step out and show a different product and service. But we're still human to human. So even if you're a really large organization, how can you still bring in that human factor?
Correct.
So whether it's your staff or whether it's you as a business owner and being very, very small or micro or solopreneur. And I think that a lot of people that are in those positions find it very difficult to be able to do so much.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, but I think that if they're sharing their vulnerability and their stories behind it, I think that people like that a whole lot more. And so then
they love it.
They're not feeling like it's being shoved down their throat.
Well, yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. And I'll give you an example. There's a bike shop here where I live. And we're a small, I'm in Shepparton, so we're a smallish, 60,000 people. It's not small, but there's a couple of bike shops. The one bike shop, I don't even ride bikes, that stands out to me because I know they're family owned, as in, I know their family history because they talk about it all the time in their advertising. The other smart thing that they do is you don't see bike advertisements everywhere. You'll see an ad on the local, on the TV here or in the paper. Download your free bike map of Shepparton, where to ride your bike. And it's got nothing to do with product, but they do that because you can then get people saying, oh, I'd love that. And then they download it and it's connected to the shop. So it's about, as you said, it's about thinking smarter about how to get it into your hands, the hands of people. And it's not necessarily about the product. It's about the lifestyle or the solution to that person's problem, a pain point.
Yeah, exactly. And, and this is the sort of message that is constantly being said. And I am a little, sometimes a bit surprised with some people still saying that they still find it challenging to do that online. And it's like, well, I don't see that as the barrier. It's just a different way of providing a solution, a different way. Just like if you were to pick up the phone, it's how can you present it? I mean, if you can do videos around it, then people get that little bit more of that human connection. Yeah. But if not, in your copywriting, put in that human connection. So
I agree.
What would be some other tips probably that you could suggest to people? And I'm thinking about your NLP, which is about particular words. So what tips do you think you could also give around that?
For selling, or just for bringing your brand about?
Well, I think perhaps maybe for both. Let's talk about both.
Yeah. So I guess the main thing is, and with all that sort of cognition and inner thought and your NLP and everything is actually, the belief starts with you. The belief starts with you, and people can see through you if you don't genuinely believe in yourself. And that can be a really difficult thing for people to do. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose.
That's all right.
That can be a bit of hay fever there. That can be a really difficult thing for people to do, is to believe in themselves. But if you don't work on yourself with that, it will show. And people then, there's something about you they just don't know, which kind of equals to trust online. So probably around that is a lot of the NLP is basically about, and also cognitive behavior therapy is also about looking at things from a different angle. Now, I'm guilty of this as well. I've started up 2 little online schools in different fields that I'm writing. And initially, the first course took me so long to write because I thought, who's going to pay for this? Who's going to shell out the money? What's my audience? Am I getting it right? Am I getting the right information? Now, I know my audience, I understand it, and I write the content believing that I'm giving good value to people and knowing that I am. So probably something around that is your self-belief and your mindset will play a huge part in your success. Because if you look at Jeff Bezos from Amazon, and there's earlier pictures of him in his home, and he's working in this room and there's boxes everywhere, and he's got cardboard stuck to the wall with Amazon written on it. If he didn't believe in himself, would have he worked on that for so long and never given up?
Yeah.
If he just given himself 3 months and I knew it wasn't going to work. So just going back to that mindset and the NLP and the way you program yourself. And one thing that I find really, really helpful that helps me in my business is meditation. It's not for everyone, but for me, it's not a spiritual thing. For me, it's a personal development. I'll do the meditation. I'll see myself successful and reaching a goal. And I find that really helps as well. And also listening to positive affirmations. Like if I'm working on the computer, I'll have my phone on, my headset, and just very, very softly in the background, there's a couple of YouTube ones that you can get that are just repeating words over and over again. I am powerful, I'm successful, I can do anything, or, whatever it is that you want. And I do have that in as well. I try to do that once a day. Sometimes I do forget. But I find that it's your subconscious part of your mind that actually has the most effect on your success outcomes. The stuff that you and I right now, the conscious part, we understand, we can see it, we can hear it. The subconscious, or in psychology known as unconscious, they actually call it, which always to me sounds like you're knocked out, but they do call it unconscious. The unconscious part of your mind probably rules 90% of your outcomes. So if you're not, it's that background stuff that you're not listening to. And that's why I listen to things with my ears, so that subconsciously it's drip feeding me success, so that I'm not in the background saying this is never going to sell. I'm not going to be able to do that, because that's a hard thing for some people to get over.
Yeah, and I know that from personal experience, and it's the subconscious, it can also affect the inner self-talk. And so, it's that
100%.
It's that link ups between then the consciousness and, so how much you are blocking yourself from achieving your objectives and things like that. And
spot on.
I use that a lot, and I've experienced that certainly last year in my grieving period of when I lost my mum. And it was something that really did help me through a very difficult year.
Good on you.
Yeah, while I was building up a business, and I was still finishing out a contract with
and looking after a family.
Looking after a family. And
Sorry to hear that.
On the spectrum, and I found it was really quite fascinating. I'm very aware of this, and I love neuroscience and the subconscious mind and conscious mind. Was aware of it, and yet still how much every now and then it would just happen.
Yes.
Even thinking about it, something would happen. I go, oh my gosh, I need to now work on this other thing, so I do the same. The meditation.
Good on you. You've recognized it, and that's the key to success, is that whatever maladaptive thought or behavior that you're doing or thinking, the recognition, like what you've done, is how you overcome it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people sort of think, oh, but I don't know I'm doing it. We'll start to listen, and it's funny when you start to listen how much negativity is there.
Yes.
You know, like when you listen to yourself, and then once you recognize and understand that, you can start, like you said, you had to then start to go, that's not going to work for me. I'm going to replace that thought, which is cognitive behavior therapy, replace it with something different.
Exactly.
Yeah, good on you.
Exactly. And now it's so much so that my husband's along on the journey too, that
Oh, is it?
we're getting to the point of, it's not a swear jar, it's a negative word jar. You know, any sort of negative word, you know, and we'll be picking.
I might use that. That's a great idea. So what, if someone's negative, you've got to put $1 in or something?
Yep. Any sort of negative words or phrases that are said, because sometimes in various different work environments, especially like I'm very empathetic in a lot of ways, that I can sort of pick up not only their vibes whenever you're around people. So even now in this, they're a whole lot more virtual. I can do that, and because of being more adaptable, pick up some of their phrases or their words inadvertently. And it's being a whole lot more conscious and aware of what that is, because I know that that's going to affect me in my next lot of thought processes as far as trying to help others. And it's
100%.
it's going to be cutting off my own nose to spite my face for myself, personally,
and
as well as for others.
Correct. And that's called mirroring. I can't say that word properly. Mirroring.
Yes.
100%. And you know, it's a technique that you can use in psychotherapy and counseling. But as you said, inadvertently we do it because you're trying to build a rapport with someone. So you start to try and work out where you know you're going to meet, and inadvertently you do start to do those things. I'm guilty of that as well. You know, be around someone that you know, they say misery likes company. It's you have to recognize, well, okay, this is what's happening here. I have to stay above that. And it can be challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's challenging in lots of different ways. You know, it could be our work environment, it could be loved ones around us, it can be extended family, and we're certainly getting a heck of a lot of that in media. That's why I try very hard not to watch media, especially, you know, this whole you know, sometimes because sensationalism sells. So in a way, it's a bit of fear mongering, though, as with the whole coronavirus. You know, just so many things, really.
You're so right. The more you watch, I sort of found the same, that I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it in the morning, quickly watch it at lunch, I'll watch it before I go to bed. And you thought, no, I have to stop, because it affects you.
Yeah.
And it stops you from moving forward, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It really does.
And then with some of us, you know, in our various different sorts of businesses, and when we're helping other people, especially if we're coaching and counseling people, for example, you know, you've always got that negativity, those, you know, their own emotional blocks and their own money blocks, and you know, those sorts of things that sometimes we can take them on and not realize it, even though we're very aware not to.
I agree.
So how do we, because a long time ago, I was in the service industry in bricks and mortar, and it's very easy to take on your clients' problems and upsets and things like that, and keep thinking on it, you know, and keep it with you. And it's like, I learned a long time ago that, you know, was a waste of energy, because otherwise I felt like my good positive energy was just being zapped all the time.
And that's not help to you.
No. So it's like you're a battery and you're giving away good positive energy. So would there be, you've given us some great value there and food for thought as far as how to energize your battery with like you were saying with the meditation, those sorts of things. Would there be any other tips as far as blocks, emotional and mental blocks, with having that presence online and moving forward?
How to do it. And okay, so I think with the blocks, the very, very first thing that will help people is to actually know you've got a block, because quite often, including myself, we don't know that we have a block. We're just not doing it. And usually that shows in procrastination. And we're putting something off and we don't feel comfortable. Take it a step back. What are we telling ourselves about that? Okay, so if someone is having trouble doing a Facebook Live, break down all the points of you know, what it is and work out what the block is. Is it that you don't want people, you think maybe I'll look silly out there, or will I say the wrong thing? And start to work through those individual things and come up with a good excuse for it. So someone says, I don't want to do a Facebook Live to my audience in case I make a mistake. So then I would challenge that with, how does anyone know you'll make a mistake? You don't tell them. Okay, great. So then move on to the next one. What if I embarrass myself? Okay, how will you know if you've embarrassed yourself? Because you don't know what anyone's thinking. So just let it be what it is. So it's about working through that and actually recognizing it and just jumping in and doing it anyway, which is scary for people. But as soon as, you know, people listening, if you do that and you take that foot forward, it will cure it. Because the best thing for, we know why we procrastinate, because we've got those blocks. And the best thing for procrastination is to do it.
Yeah, so true.
It's simple. It's a simple concept. It's not easy,
No.
but it's a simple solution.
Yeah.
If you just look at it for the solution and go, well, I've just got to do it, and then pretty soon you don't care, do you? You know, when you're doing your lives or your podcasts, or
you eventually get over it, and you know, it's through the practice that you get better or being more confident. Yeah, definitely. It reminds me of a book I read, and look, you can hear these things, but until you actually do it, and probably a couple of times,
yeah.
Then you realize the power, and you know, it lowers the pushback or the fear. And
Correct. Yeah.
I remember when I, you know, first started having a couple of panic attacks 20 years ago. Yeah, and I was recommended a book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah, you've actually got it there, have you?
Well, I haven't got it here. I haven't got that one here, but I know the book you're talking about. This is What Doesn't Kill Us. So this is about the psychology of post-traumatic growth. So 10 best anxiety management. And change your thinking with cognitive behavior therapy. And it encompasses everything that you're talking about. It's simple. It's actually simple. It's not easy to do, but it's very simple solution.
It is
true. I so agree with you.
It's not an easy journey, but you know what? These things, it's a personal development skills and tools that we use, but you can bring it into your professional environment. It helps you with business, especially if you're a small business. It's only you at the end of the day that's driving that engine.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That is such a good point. And I'm so glad you said that, because no one can do that for you.
Yep.
So if people, that is such a valuable point to make. And I so agree with that. And it's one of the main things that I think people really need to understand. That you're driving it.
Yeah, you're driving it. And that, you know, the power is there within you. It's just tapping into it.
100%. I really believe that everyone has the greatness within them, whether they've come from, you know, a family that for the last 7 generations have been criminals and not educated, or perhaps come from a, you know, abusive relationship, or whatever it is. Or, you know, you were shy as a kid, you were bullied, whatever it is, everyone has the greatness within them to become what they want. You've just got to take that step to do it. It's scary, but it's not scary once you get there. It's empowering.
Yeah. And one thing I've been really enjoying of late too is to reaching out, and with these various interviews that I'm doing, and reaching out to a whole lot of people and like-mindedness, very similar across the globe, and the amount of people that we do have so many common denominators that we're really not alone. Like, we can feel alone, and we need to be distinctive with our business, yet on the same token we actually do have a lot of people out there that are like-minded with us.
We do. Yes.
So you're important to connect and to continue to help ourselves to help others through it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? If you don't, you know, that old saying, if you can't help others, what's the saying about the empty cup? You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So if you're not helping yourself, you're not helping others, and you're not bringing value, which is what you need in the online world. You need to bring value to people. So therefore, as you said, it goes back to personal development.
Yep.
once you work on that, everything else will start to flow in your business.
Yeah, which is so lovely. Again, are there sort of underlying principles really of being really great in business if you're a small business owner? It's just the whole shift of taking it a whole lot more online is just looking at how to use the tools and the mediums a little bit differently, which is really lovely. Lovely that you've highlighted so many beautiful things there. I really implore people that are watching and listening to this to rewind it and to really listen to a lot of the things that you've said in there that because I know a lot of those things, like you can really take a lot of those and deep dive in them and very leverageable. I think we're going to have to definitely interview you again another time and
Sounds great.
some of those and do some real deep dives and get really meaty in there.
I count me in. It's a date. Book me in.
Okay, good. A date with our destinies. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
That's great. So tell me then, what's on the horizon for you in 2020?
Oh, so I'm now working on, I do work full-time as well, and I work for a local company here, and I run their social media. So I love social media. So what is on the horizon for me? I'm really absolutely loving my the content that I'm producing. So I'm putting that into courses. I do have a health and wellness business as well. So I'm writing some short courses around that. And so I've got one platform for my Melissa Mitchell Health and Wealth, and also my online mastery. And I'm really finding that is where I think my direction is now, has kind of, not come to an end, but this is sort of where I can't even talk, where it's kind of come to a head in the sense of I understand my knowledge, packaging up my knowledge and offering that into a course.
Yeah.
These are short courses and they're not expensive at all. So they could be $29, they could be $3. But just for the type of people that just want that basic understanding without going to spend $2,000, they can jump on and they can do a little course in Facebook on how to leverage it for your business. And likewise in my health and wellness, it's using certain natural products to receive to reach certain results. So I feel that's where my 2020 is, and I've actually feel that everything that I've put into probably the last 10 years of knowledge and learning, I feel like this is where it was meant to be. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that, and I'm also very open to where the journey evolves. Because I also know when you do start a business, whether it's online or not, it does evolve. And where you think maybe it might have gone to, all of a sudden that part's really, really popular and that's not so much. So it ends up being this. And it's all within the same field. It's just the way I'm delivering it. Initially I was writing ebooks, which have done really, really well. But then I was getting asked for something a little bit more in depth. So I just listened to people, packaged it together, and I feel that's kind of where my 2020 will be lying. See.
Yeah, lovely, beautiful. I really look forward to seeing the outcomes there and to watching and witnessing that. I know that there's a lot of people doing courses, and that we're going to start seeing a whole lot more start to become available. I really like though that you bring quite a holistic approach to it. Both in that sort of a wellness space as well as with that mindset, especially having the psychotherapy behind it. So
yes, it's so important. Because as I said, just going back to that belief, like if you you hear the stories about the athletes that build a record by running a race and overcome the world record by 20 seconds. If they didn't believe they could have done it, they actually wouldn't have done it, because they haven't told themselves. And also visualizing as well, visualizing where you want your success to be, what goal you want to manifest, and thinking, okay, I want to sell 10 copies of my ebook by the end of the month. You work that out. How do I do that? But you also visualize and believe that you can do it, because that helps with the belief as well.
Yeah, lovely.
I really believe. Yeah,
I love it. And look, we've seen it over and over again in humanity's time. What makes someone be that success, with that compared to someone that it isn't. And a lot of it just comes down to our own self-beliefs within ourselves.
100%.
Yeah, so I think that's really, really
Yeah,
awesome.
I agree. I agree. That's, 9 times out of 10, that's what it comes down to. People get so caught up on having the best idea, or
Yes.
the idea. It's not. It's how you market it, and how you believe in it, and what it can offer people.
Yep.
And yeah, I agree with you.
Yep. Beautiful. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for sharing those
Thank you
pearls
for
of
having
wisdom
me.
with us. And before we do a quick sign off, is there an offer you would like to give our listeners and viewers?
Sure, I do have, and I'll send you the link. I have a daily, weekly, and monthly checklist of what we call a daily method of operation. So these are things that you can do to build specifically your online presence. Now, having been in the network marketing industry, there is some reference to that, but it doesn't matter. So for your listeners, it doesn't matter if it says network marketing. Replace it with your own business. I'd love to offer that. It's a free download through my online mastery school that you can access by clicking the link, and it'll be emailed to you. So I would absolutely love to offer that. You can tweak some of that to suit your business, but it talks about how many times you should post, daily on certain platforms to get the best leverage that you want, best times, that sort of thing as well. So I'd love to offer that to your
Oh,
viewers, and I thank you for the opportunity for me to be able to do that.
yeah, look, I thank you too, and on behalf of them, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to offer our listeners that, which is really, really lovely. So
Thank
thank you.
you. I appreciate it.
And is there any last minute thing you might want to say?
Oh gosh, I think just going back, if I can leave everyone with one thing, as I said, you have the greatness within you. It's whether you want to use that greatness or not, and you don't need to have the best knowledge of anything. Making money doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be stressful. You can monetize anything. Work out what you're good at, put it into a fun concept, whether it's a course, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, and just go for it.
Mm.
And just believe in yourself that there are people out there that do want to hear from you.
Lovely.
Yeah. Self.
Awesome, awesome, awesome way
Thank
to end it
you.
off. Definitely love it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you for joining us, and look forward to the next one.
Count me in.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.